Welcome back, beautiful souls. This video is actually done at the request of a friend of mine. Um, she wanted to know how to work with your ancestors. And I was like, well, that's super easy. I don't have to research that. I can basically kind of tell you what to do. I am going to do a partially intuitive video for this. So we will go through a little meditation beforehand to see what they kind of want you to know to work with them. And this video will kind of be, well, not kind of be, it will be essentially in two parts. There will be the way most of you can work with them. And if you are a shamanic practitioner, there is a specific way that as a shaman, you can work with your ancestors if you don't already. This is just another tool to do that. So let's take a moment. Does the mic working? Okay. I've had that die in the middle of a recording before. I just wanted to make sure. We're going to take a few deep breaths. We are going to ask that Archangel Michael surround us in his divine white bubble of protection, sealing it top to bottom, left to right, and front to back, so that only that which is of light and love may enter. And we're going to ask for him to extend a silver cord to heaven and a golden cord into the earth, so that we remain connected to both realms, both the divinity and to be grounded here upon earth. And we are going to ask Archangel Gabriel to step in to guide our words, so that they may bring wisdom and fulfillment and knowledge. And Archangel Raziel, we ask for your assistance in portraying and conveying this divine guidance, the more esoteric knowledge. We ask for your assistance. And we ask Archangel Raphael to step forward and surround us in his emerald green light to heal the bonds that exist between us and our ancestors. Any patterns, illnesses, expectations that exist within this realm, may they be healed. With the help of Archangel Azrael, may they be released. And we ask for our ancestors to step forward to let us know how they would like us to work with them. Let them be our guides and offer us their wisdom. Okay. So the best way to work with your ancestors is really just to talk to them. Basically, that's what I'm hearing, is talk to us, work with us, invite us in. So the way it works is, hold on, I'm trying to figure out how. I feel like basically your ancestors have done a lot of different things, whether it is your immediate ancestry, so parents, grandparents, aunts, great aunts, uncles, cousins, older cousins, the great grandparents, the great great grandparents, depending on how far back you know your lineage or how far back you don't know. You have generations of people from both your father and mother's side that wish to work with you. And what you do is you just simply talk to them, ask them to help you with something. If it's a specific skill, so like if you're trying to, say you're trying to make something, like you're trying to, for example, I'll just use crochet because I crochet. If I wanted to try and teach myself a new stitch, I might ask my grandmother, my great grandmother, to help me figure out the best way to do the stitching or the best way to put whatever it is I'm working on together. I generally do scarves and blankets. I can really only do things in straight lines, but if I were to try to do something else, they would be the ones I would call upon. Whereas if I wanted to sew something, I know I have multiple people on both sides of the family. I'm sorry, I keep shutting my eyes. I'm being kind of bombarded with pictures and images, and I'm trying to filter out what they are. And it's like one of my great aunts was a seamstress, and I know there are tailors on my father's side of the family. So it would be they're the ones I would call on if I wanted to work on a sewing project, for example. So, and then there are business owners in my family. So as I try and get my own business up and running, they are the ones I would call on. What do I need to do? What do I need to know? Help me kind of just have the confidence to step forward and do this. So basically, what you're doing is whatever it is you're trying to do, just ask your ancestors. Whether or not they knew how to do it is beyond the point, because you can just simply ask them, please smooth the way forward. Smooth, help me figure out the way to do this. Please smooth the way forward to make this easier, remove obstacles. If you've been working on trying to heal certain things, the way it was explained to me one time is like, you've done the work healing them, now let them help you. If you are trying to figure out what patterns need to be broken, this might also be a time to work with them to figure out, how do I heal this? So you might ask them to kind of point you in directions. What do I need to know to heal this thing? How do I turn off this gene? What needs to be done so that I don't have heart problems, or to alleviate diabetes or cancer or high cholesterol, whatever it is? How do I go about switching off this gene, switching off the pattern, the thoughts, the habits, releasing whatever it is that is leading to this problem? How do I do that? And you just simply talk to them and you ask for their assistance. You essentially can work with your ancestors the way you would work with your spiritual team. You ask them for assistance, and you can work with your guardian angels, your angel guides, your spirit guides, and your ancestors all at the same time. If you're trying to bring in a loved one, or not bring in a loved one, you're trying to bring in a lover, you're trying to meet your person. Maybe you need to meet new people, you need contacts for whatever's going on. Basically, you do is you can ask your ancestors to help guide you to the people you need, the same way you will with your spirit team. Ask them to bring this person in. If it's a partner, like a soulmate or a twin flame, I'm going to refer you here to the video I did on that. But one of the things is you can ask them to guide you to that person, but also to prepare you to meet them, because there might be something that needs to be cleared up before you can meet them. And in the process, it might trigger other things that maybe need to be cleared out from the ancestral line, meeting this person. Children. I've seen a lot of people become parents or grandparents, and that is when the ancestors really step forward. So, like, if you're going to be a mom for the first time, you're going to be a dad for the first time, this is when you'll notice the ancestors really start to come in. If you're going to be a grandma or grandpa, if you have, even if it's not the first time, it's when the family starts to step forward. The maternal figures, both sides of the family, doesn't matter, will start moving forward to help guide a new mom. The paternal figures may start stepping forward to help guide a new father. The maternal figures will step forward to help someone step into that role of grandmother, of aunt, sister. So that's also too, you can kind of ask them to help mediate. Now, I've read books where sometimes different sides of the family don't get along, different family members don't get along. I'm hearing, don't worry about that. The people that will step forward will be the people that you need to step forward, whether you know them or not. And more often than not, you are not going to know all of your ancestors, because you are going to get people that go way back down the family line that will, when called, will come. Do not punish your ancestors for the sins of the time that they lived in. You have to remember the times people lived in dictated their thoughts, their patterns, their habits, their lifestyles. That is not indicative of how you live now. It's really interesting that they brought that up. I wasn't going to touch on that, and they are. So I don't know who's going to see this video that's going to need to hear this. Apparently people do. Don't punish your ancestors for the sins of the past. It was almost something along the lines of like they didn't necessarily know better. The way society dictates things today, society dictated things then as well. Hindsight and history prove otherwise and highlight the good and the bad of those times. Interesting. Okay. Apparently someone here needs to hear this, or someone will need to hear this. Because you work with whoever you want to work with, but you will be working with people you don't know, because depending on where your family is from, you may not be able to get those records. Like if you're doing a genealogy thing. You kind of have to remember that the First World War, the Second World War, even the current wars that are going on now, fire, even in the United States, fires, floods, building destruction, wars, records were lost, records were destroyed, unintentionally, intentionally, accidentally, through bombings and fires and floods and natural disasters and whatever. Records have been lost. And not everyone can. A lot of people may run into dead ends just trying to do familiar research if they're not professionals. And even then, they may run into dead ends because the records are they're just gone. So there will be records and there will be ancestors that you can call on that are quite old. Like way. I'm talking like I'm seeing like classical, medieval period, classical periods, ancient periods that can potentially step forward. But just talk to them. I'm deviating, but that is one of the things that's talk to them, call them in, ask them for help. Another way to work with them would be to set up an ancestor altar, put up photos of ancestors, just talk about them, share their stories. Don't let them die, don't let them fade, because when someone is forgotten, that memory of them is gone. So talk to your children about the people you remember, good, bad, or indifferent. Let them know the flaws of the family, because for some people, they need that information. And it's funny because I'm hearing like gambling addiction, alcohol addiction, abuse, domestic violence, cheating, stuff like that. Children need to hear this. I heard, yeah, children of all ages. So basically age appropriate your information, but children need to hear this so that they know they're not alone and they know what their family has survived. Oh, okay. Some of them will need to know what the family has survived and the strength of the lineage they come from. You're stronger than you realize, and you come from a line of strong women and men who have survived. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, so you can set up an ancestor altar to work with them if you have pictures. And just as a side note, you can add family, friends that you grew up with or you were brought up with that were like family. So your ancestors generally will be someone you grew up with, and not someone you grew up with, someone that is connected by blood. However, there may be those ties that are by bond, not by blood. So someone like if you had kind of like an adopted aunt or uncle, your mom or dad's best friend that you grew up with that was always there. Grandma or grandpa's close friend or neighbor that was always there that you grew up with, that basically was family. Like they became like family. These are people you can add to your ancestor altar. One of the things I will add, because this was actually taught to us by an elder shaman, is that you don't want to mix pictures of the living with pictures of the dead if you set up an ancestor altar. It's one thing if you just have pictures around. I know there's, where did I read it? Was it in? I don't know if it was in one of the books I read or if it was somewhere else, but it was like, if you put pictures on the wall of the family, don't put, make sure there's open space. Don't put them under, like, have a couch under it or like a table under it, because that signals that the line of the family stops. Make sure there's open space so you can go down. I feel like this was an Italian tradition, but maybe it's not. I don't know where I heard this. But yeah, it's like if you have family photos hung, don't have furniture underneath it, because basically what you're doing is it's almost like you're drawing a hard line where the family line stops. By having open space, it means that the family line will continue. So but in that instance, yes, you can have pictures of the living and the dead. If you're doing an ancestor altar, you can do two, one for like people that are still alive, one for people that have passed. If you have a living person in a photo of the people that have passed, you take like a Post-it note or like a piece of paper and basically either tape it or paper clip it over the person, because what you're doing is you don't want that living person to absorb that dead energy. You want to protect them from the energy of the dead. If you're just like, that's why I said there's a differentiation here between just having pictures out versus an actual like ancestor altar. And then if you want, you can do like, these are the living ancestors, these are grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, aunts and uncles, and then over here it's like the people that have passed away. So that's another way you can also choose to work with your ancestors. You can leave, if you so choose, you can leave little offerings for them. Some people do, some people don't. You can put little knickknacks around, or like if you're out in the wood, like you could be your regular altar that you just mix in pictures with your ancestors, statues, and like little bric-a-brac, like, ooh, I found a feather, ooh, I found a pine cone, which probably sounds really weird. I remember it was in between seasons. It was like way after Christmas and not quite fall. And then I had gone for a walk, and in the middle of nowhere, like not like the middle of the road, there's this pine cone that just kind of came out of nowhere. I'm like, it's too early. Like, we're way past Christmas and it's too early for the pine cones to drop. And there it was. So I was like, all right, that's a sign. So I took it home with me, and it ended up on my altar. That is another way you can work with them. Those are the ways that I think most people will find the most comfortable to work with their ancestors, is talking with them, honoring them, telling their stories. Invite them to holidays. Like if you're having a celebration, like a birthday, there's a holiday going on, the cookouts, whatever, invite the dead to come. Ask them to come and have a good time. They will come, and they will enjoy partaking with the family. They may actually just come anyway, but invite them. My mom always says that. My mom always will kind of very quietly say, hey, make sure you're showing up for such and such event. We want you there. So that's another thing you can do. It's another way of kind of just keeping them alive. If you're having a wedding, if you're having a big event, you can have a table that kind of honors those who are no longer with us. You could do that as well, with pictures or a slideshow or whatever, music. Those are the ways that I think most people will find the most comfortable means of working with their ancestors, is just that kind of everyday incorporation. Now, if you're a shaman, if you're a shamanic practitioner, sorry, I have a worry stone here, ocean jasper. I was holding it before. And then there's another method you can use. If you haven't done this method, it's going to be 2 different journeys or 3, depending. What you're going to do is the first journey you are going to do, you are going to ask to go to your ancestral meeting place. And that will generally be somewhere on this plane in the middle world. You actually may go into the upper world or lower world. I feel like it's going to be, though, on this plane of existence. You might time jump, however. So it could be somewhere on this plane of existence, but you're going back hundreds or thousands of years to the location where, when you want to work with your ancestors, this is the place you go to. You go to this ancestral meeting place. Now, if you are blessed enough and lucky enough that your spouse also does this, or your significant other is also maybe a shamanic practitioner, or more shamanic practitioner, because I don't know other traditions that generally do journeys like this to the upper world, the lower world, or the middle world. They can do this on their own, and they can go and deal with their own, asked how to deal with their own ancestors. Most of us, or most people, I'm the only one that does this in my family. So I highly doubt if I end up dating someone, unless I get super lucky, they're probably not going to do this either. They'll hope, fingers crossed, they're hopefully supportive enough, but probably not gonna walk a different path than I do, and that's to be expected. What you can do for your significant other is you can ask your guides to take you to your significant other's ancestral meeting place, with the intention that if there is something you need to help them with, if they're having a problem with something, if there's something that needs to be addressed, how do I go talk to their ancestors to help them? Now, when you initially do this for your own ancestors, your own ancestral meeting place, you can ask your ancestors, if I have a problem or if there's something going on with such and such, do I come here to have their ancestors speak also? Do I talk with you? Or do I go see their ancestors? And they will be able to give you the kind of guidance on how to handle that. Because it might be maybe their ancestors will show up for you. It might be that, no, you need to go wherever their ancestral meeting place is. So that is something you can ask. Also, be aware that sometimes when you meet your ancestors, if there's other things going on in the family, you may only get one side or the other, or you may get both sides. You may get one ancestor. You may know who these ancestors are. You may have no worldly inkling of who they are, but you will spiritually know who they are. So it could be that instead of seeing grandma or great grandma, you might meet one of your ancient ancestors and just intuitively know, this is like the first shaman in the family line on this side. That's who this person is. Or, oh, this is someone that did this kind of work back in like the Renaissance at such and such a time, and this is who I'm meant to talk to, and this is the side of the family they're on. You have no worldly knowledge of who this person is and how they're connected. You have no idea how to find this connection. If you needed to look it up, it's just something that you intuitively know, that this is who this ancestor is, this is how they're connected, this is why they're here. You can also ask. But that is another way. As a shaman, you can ask, you can work with your ancestors. Is going through the ancestral meeting place and then going to them with questions. And be prepared that sometimes when you do go to talk to them about a problem, maybe there's something going on in the family or the extended family that you want help with, they might tell you, not really your issue. There's nothing you can really do. They got to work it out amongst themselves. Because I have had that happen. I have had that exact scenario happen. My mother wanted me to check in on something, and the family was like, basically not your problem, not your monkeys, not your circus. They got to figure it out themselves. Don't worry about it. Okay, cool. I asked. That was the information I got. So do also be prepared that, you know, Nunya is going to be, could very well be the answer sometimes, um, of what your answer is going to be. And if you're like, what's Nunya? None of your business. That's what it is. The ancestors don't really hold back. They will give it to you straight. And those are different methods that you can use to work with your ancestors. So I hope this helps. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah. Okay.